Let's talk about low AMH and what it truly means. You went to your fertility appointment, they checked your AMH, it came back low, and the next sentence out of your doctor's mouth was IVF or donor eggs. And I need to talk to you about everything that was skipped between that number and that recommendation, because here is what that appointment didn't include. It didn't ask why your AMH is low, even though they want to blame it on age. It didn't explain what AMH is actually measuring. It didn't tell you that that number can actually change, and it didn't run a single test to identify what's driving it. One number, one referral, and a woman walked out of that office believing her fertility story is over without reproductive assistance. It's not over. The investigation is vastly incomplete. So let me tell you what AMH is actually measuring, because this changes everything. Your ovaries have three distinct follicle pools. Pool 1, your primordial follicles. These are your dormant, lifetime egg supply. The follicles you were born with. No blood test on this planet can measure these. Not AMH, not FSH, not anything currently available. Pool number 2, your growing follicles. These are the ones that have been recruited and are actively developing right now. They're surrounded by granulosa cells, and granulosa cells produce AMH. This is what your AMH test is actually measuring. Pool 2, how many follicles are actively developing right now in your current state of health. Pool 3, the dominant follicle that is selected for ovulation. By the time a follicle reaches this stage, AMH production actually drops because it's done its job. So when your AMH comes back low, your doctor is seeing a low number of actively developing follicles right now in your current cellular environment, not a low number of lifetime eggs, not an unmeasurable, permanent, fixed ceiling on your fertility, a snapshot of a dynamic system that responds to changes in health. Here's what I need you to understand about why that number is low. Your granulosa cells, the cells that are producing AMH that surround the follicle, are not operating in a vacuum. They are metabolically active. They are environmentally sensitive, and they are a downstream of every major hormonal system in your body. This is a connected cascade. When your cortisol is dysregulated from chronic stress, poor sleep, nervous system dysregulation, it disrupts GnRH pulsatility at the hypothalamus. GnRH is the master signal that drives LH and FSH production. When that signal is impaired, LH and FSH become impaired. And your LH and FSH are the signals telling your follicles to develop. Fewer follicles developing, and AMH drops. When insulin is dysregulated, which can be completely invisible on a standard blood sugar test, it amplifies androgen production and impairs FSH sensitivity in those granulosa cells directly. The follicular recruitment signal gets through, but the follicles can't respond to it normally, and AMH drops further. And thyroid dysfunction is suboptimal, even subclinically, with a TSH that your doctor calls normal. Thyroid hormone receptors expressed directly on the granulosa cells are not being adequately activated. Granulosa cells metabolism slows and AMH drops. When gut health is compromised, dysbiosis, increased intestinal permeability, chronic gut inflammation, systemic inflammation reaches your ovarian environment, granulosa cells then are under oxidative stress, cannot function optimally, can't produce AMH optimally, and that reflects in your AMH. Each one of these compounds the other. Cortisol, thyroid, insulin, inflammation, and none of these get investigated at your fertility appointment. And here's the truth that nobody tells you when they hand you that IVF referral. IVF can't fix any of this. IVF retrieves whatever eggs your body is producing in this current state. If it's inflamed, cortisol driven, insulin resistant, thyroid impaired, gut compromised, that is the environment your eggs are developing in during every stimulation cycle. IVF is a bypass. It bypasses the fallopian tubes, ovulation, and fertilization in the body, but it doesn't bypass the cellular environment your eggs are developing in. Fixing that environment first changes everything about what gets retrieved. Your AMH number is low, and the investigation into why is incomplete. That's not a sentence on your fertility. It's the beginning of the conversation that should have happened in your first appointment. My next video explains exactly why everything you've already tried hasn't moved the needle and what has to happen before anything else works.